I thought long and hard about what to speak about tonight, and I thought about many different topics, and I thought of some and came back again. But at the end of the day, what I really wanted to speak to, I really wanted to let you guys know how you have changed me over this past 12 months and what you have really done for me, and how important this Toastmasters Club, this group of people is. Over the past year, I've had some of the most amazing things happen to me. As some of you know, I've spoken at a national conference, something I never thought I would do. I'm an amazing job, which I really enjoy. And I found a passion for public speaking, and when in the bio I was talking about surprises, it was a surprise to me that I actually enjoyed public speaking once I worked my way through the agony, and I do, I really enjoy it. The only thing that I have in mind is that some days I think my life is a dream now, and that someday somebody's going to pinch me and I'll wake up and everything will just disappear. So that's my biggest nightmare right now. So tonight, I want to thank you for what you've given me. You've given me something that money can't buy. The things that you do individually make up to much more than you as individuals. There's a saying which says, you are more than the sum of its parts. So the things that you do each week add up to a tremendous and amazing influence and an amazing force. And the movie title which came to mind was the one from a few years ago, which is called The Right Stuff. And I think you guys here have the right stuff. At my very first meeting, I was overwhelmed by the attention I got from everyone. I can remember being outside in the kitchen and 2 or 3 of the members came up to me and they spoke to me about how was I, where was I from, and they wanted to know a little bit about me basically. And what impressed me was that they had come and made the move to me to ask me about myself, and they were really interested in what I had to say. And the other thing they did, they actually shared with me a little bit about themselves, which you don't come across that on an everyday basis. People usually take a lot of time before they will share anything with you. So for me, that meant quite a bit. And while we're talking about the kitchen, what came to mind was tea and coffee. Every week, it's usually Kevin or somebody else does it for them, Barbara tonight, gets the tea and coffee ready, and it seems like such a small thing, but it's a really good indicator of how powerful this club is. Because what the tea and coffee is about is not about just the tea and coffee. It's the socializing when you're out there. It's making the small talk. It's knowing how to network with people. And these are 2 of the most valuable things you can do in real life. When you go to professional conferences and these other places, what you find is the ability to talk to people in between things is what gets you moving. It's what moves you forward in terms of things improving for you, for opportunities, for etc. The next thing I want to speak about is the mentorship that happens here. I think I'm terribly lucky. I think I have the best mentor. Now I'm biased on that, but I think I have the best one. But I think everyone here has been excellent. I know any time that I have emailed anybody and have said, do you mind if I ask you this really silly question about whatever, they usually get back to me the same day. And if I have to wait for 2 days, then I usually get an email saying, oh, I'm terribly sorry, I was busy with whatever. And then they give me the answer I'm looking for. All the responses have always been extremely positive, extremely helpful, always along the lines of, well, is there anything else I can do? Which is amazing. I also know that when my mentor is on her motorcycle riding off across the island, that I can actually call on any one of you guys. I can email any of you, and you will get back to me with the information I need. And that's a real comfort to have that sort of support. The next thing I want to touch on is YouTube. Every week, Alec records us with our speeches. And all of this, by the way, is done without anyone expecting anything in return. But he just does it as with the tea and coffee and the mentorship as well. And I can remember when I got my first video link through on email. And my son at that point, at the beginning of the year, was really into YouTube. And I can remember thinking, yes, I've actually got something on YouTube, and I was so excited that I actually had joined the technology age. I actually had my own video on YouTube, and it was tremendous. But the practical side of these videos is the fact that I can look back. I get the feedback from people, but then I can actually look back at the videos to see what the feedback meant. So people have always mentioned that I tend to use notes in the speeches. And I was thinking, no, I don't really tend to use notes. I may have a few words there, and I don't really look down that often. I'm sure people are exaggerating when they talk about the fact that I tend to use my notes. So I watched myself on the YouTube video, and sure enough, I tend to use my notes. What I hadn't realized was I was looking down like every 10 or 15 seconds, just checking, and it's like a safety thing, right, a security thing, just to make sure I was on track. So you're actually better without the notes, but as you can see, I haven't quite got there tonight, but I'm working on it, and I'm looking up more tonight. So it's a real learning tool. The other good thing about the videos is I can look back. I can look back to my very first speech. I can look back to tonight's speech at some point, and I can see the differences myself in how I speak, how more relaxed I look, and the gestures, and all these types of things. And they're all there, and they're there permanently, and that's perfect for me. The other thing that I'd like to talk about as well is feedback. By now, I think I have 48 feedback sheets from all of you. I kept every single one of them. I have them in the envelope that my Toastmasters information came in. And I read them and I reread them. And they're really, really useful to me. A lot of the comments I got, one comment that stands out was when I was doing my speech about the dream cars. I remember giving my speech, and one of the comments was, you haven't allowed enough time for people to laugh at your humorous comments. And I remember thinking, wow, you mean not only do I have to actually give the speech, and when I'm thinking about the time, I actually have to allow time for people to laugh at what I have to say. And I was totally astounded that people were laughing, and I had to plan it into my speech. So that was a real eye-opener for me that I had to do that. The other thing that I got from the feedback sheets is my accent and my voice. I get lots and lots of comments about you sound so calm and your voice is relaxed and so on. Well, before I came to Toastmasters, I used to hate my voice. I used to be at a place like Costco, talking at the checkout about apples or something really, nothing fascinating to listen to. And I would notice that as soon as I said 2 or 3 words, anybody within a 10-foot radius would start to turn their heads and be listening to this really boring thing about apples. And I used to get so self-conscious. And I just basically clammed up and said, no, look, I just want to fit in with people. I really don't want to stand out that way. And I used to get really frustrated with it. Well, that's all changed now. By the time I've now received all these comments about the positive side of having a different voice and a different accent, I now think, well, that's fine. If people want to listen to what I have to say, that's okay. And if people's heads turn when I'm speaking, if I'm in a restaurant and I'm talking, then 9 times out of 10 there's somebody whose head is turning to listen to what I have to say. I think that's okay. I just have to accept it as part of life. That's part of who I am. And I can move on. So I thank you for that, because you've really given me confidence to speak. And in some of my meetings now, I almost feel like maybe I'm speaking a little bit too much and I have to give other people a chance to say a few words. So I would like to thank you for that. And just in closing now, what I'd like to say to you is, what you've really done, you have really helped me to find my passion. My passion is now public speaking, and I just love it. But without you giving of yourself and thinking nothing of it, but every week you dedicatedly come here, you listen intently, you give good feedback, everyone is doing their part. You have such a tremendous, tremendous spirit here. You're changing other people, and I don't think that you realize how powerful it is what you have here. You change people on a weekly basis, and people don't think any more of it, and that's a tremendous, tremendous gift that you've given me. So this club has basically changed me into somebody at times that I barely recognize. People have come up to me who haven't seen me for a year, and instead of saying, hello Jill, it's more like Jill with a question mark. In other words, We're not quite sure if it's me or not, because something's different, they're not quite sure what it is, and I think that that's tremendous. So I'll just close now with with a quote, and it's one of my favourite ones. And it says, in life, you meet some people, and some of these people leave a footprint on your heart, and they change your life forever. And you have done that for me, and I thank you.